Road to Glory week number 12. 12. Last 3 weeks of the regular season, and then we are into playoffs. So if you didn't just see, I extended the trade deadline to the 29th. That's as far as I can go, so that's the last day to trade. So if anyone's going to be making trades, do it by the 29th. Um, so with 3 weeks left, we have three teams clinching playoff berths: McGill, Mirando, and Ethan. We have uh, me at 7-4, Nihil at 6-5, a winner of five in a row. So started off 1-5, is now 6-5. And then we have Brett and Galigo right now battling at 4-7 with Andrew and Japes um, at 3-8. So getting into last week, I'm just gonna go through here. Nope. Here we go. Going through the player of the week, no shocker, Miles Garrett, 15 and a half points. He's just been on a tear, sacking everyone. He's playing the Raiders this week. Hopefully, should have a good game again. But we had Kelsey shockingly against Denver at 21, JMO 16, Kyron 16, Miles Garrett 15 and a half. Um, so yeah, that's what good for me. Jeeps had Derrick Henry. It looks like could be a late season resurgence from him. Mahomes with 14, Dalton Schultz with 9, and then Jettis, who's kind of been a letdown um, all year with 9 as well. Okay. Hill versus Galigo, 9 point victory for Hill. Galigo's shining star was McBride, 23 points. On the other hand, Jalen Waddle must have thought he was auditioning for a sad reality show, scoring 6 points. Meanwhile, for Hill, Jason Myers had 15 points, while Breece Hall only scored 8 against the Patriots. Player of the week, Will Anderson. Been hearing his name quite often. In the chat. So, Will Anderson's been making an impact for Nihil. So, McBride with 23, Caleb with 10, AJ Brown with 10, Boswell with 10, a lot of tens. So for Nihil, Achan 20, Diggs 16, Drake 15, Myers 15 as well. Oh, it's big kicker production there. And then obviously we know Will Anderson had at 10 as well. Mirando versus Evan. For Evan, Travion Henderson, no surprise there with 31 points. On the flip side, Herbert had 4 points. That's terrible. Herb, Herb getting smacked by the Jags. For Mirando, Pickens had 24, but let's not forget Javonte Williams, who had 10 points. Okay. Matchup player of the week would be Will Lutz, having 18 points by Evan. Henderson had 31, Nico had 21, Cook had 18, and Will Lutz had 18. So Looks like it was a pretty decent week for Evan, but Miranda had Bijan with 29, Pickens with 24, JSM with 18, and then Gibbs with 16. Um, just not enough for Evan, unfortunately. And then we had Brett first, Ethan in an 8-point victory, it looks like. For Ethan, excuse me, for Brett, it looked like Greg Dortch was a shining player, 23 points. Genty had 8. Meanwhile, for Ethan, Josh Allen had 44 points. But let's not forget Amon Ra, who had an abysmal 5.3. Matchup player of the week is Greg Dortch, even though I don't know why it's not Michael Wilson. Greg Dortch had 23.9, Debo with 19, Goff with 13, Cedric Gray with 11. We have Josh Allen, monstrous, 44 points. Michael Wilson had 27, Chase Brown had 17, and Blake Cashman had 10 and a half added there. So obviously there's a big discrepancy between the quarterbacks. So yeah, and then we had McGill versus Andrew. I actually need to see who I picked for these games. So for Andrew's Kittle, who had 22 points, while Quentin Johnston yet again has another goose egg. On the flip side, Ted McMillan from McGill had 28 points, while Lamar had 3.72. That's pretty crazy. Player of the week, Ted McMillan, 130 yards, 2 touchdowns. For injury, we had Dak almost pulled it off if, CD CD dropped that pass by Dak, could have been a touchdown. Um, Kittle with 22, CD with 15, Dowdle with 17, McCaffrey with 33, no shocker there. Ted McMillan, 28, Kyle Hamilton with 15, and Chamari Connor with 9. Pretty good DB production coming out of McGillivray's squad. Um, all right, let me take a look here. So I picked me, Nihil, Mirando, Ethan, and McGill. That's what we call 5-0. 5-0 this week. So it brings my record to 33 and 21. Not bad. Fire. All right, transactions. What do we have? Anything big? We don't have any trades. It looks like I see Christian Gonzalez being added by Nihil, Keaton Mitchell. Then we have Chuba getting dropped. There goes Chuba. I dropped Flacco. Looks like Burrow's going to be back either this week or next week. I see Rashid Shaheed to Morando, Christian Watson, it looked like went to Ethan. Where did my screen go? Ridley got dropped. See Tootin. Where are we? This is the 19th. Kaimi. Juwan Johnson with Evan. Mooney to Japes. Daniel Jones to Evan. Emmanuel Wilson, who is the big one, to Miguel. Okay. All right. Let's get into this week's matchups. It's me versus Brett. I believe the matchup of the week, according to Yahoo, is McGill and Nihil. Um, so I had a problematic thing going on with my team. I don't know if Josh Jacobs is going to play. Jamar got suspended. And I don't know if Jalen Warren's going to play. So fun stuff there. Brett could use this one, so would be a big help if he won this game. But I'm going with Stafford, even if Burrow plays. Obviously they're playing the Patriots and Jamar's not playing. And I like Stafford versus Tampa Bay at home. DJ Moore, he's just a bum at this point. But I don't really have anyone else. JMO's been cooking. Home game. I don't know, I kind of like Dan Campbell calling the plays because he's getting him the ball. And then I don't honestly like Pittman's matchup. But we got Kyron and ETN. Those have been, some good consistency at running back. Same with Kelsey. Kelsey's kind of been a surprise, I guess, this year. Um, but yeah, not a lot. Miles Garrett. Hopefully I need another big game from him. But Brett Scott go off home against the Giants. Coming off of a loss, it's at home. They might run the score up in this game. So hopefully, if Goff scores, it's going to be to JMO. And then we have Greg Dortch home against Jacksonville. If Marvin's out again, which I think he is, he could be getting a lot of targets again. So that could be a good matchup for him. And then Ibuka, tough matchup versus the Rams, in my opinion. And then we have Wandale. Well, I mean, I don't think it matters who's going to be quarterback, but I think Dart practice this week. Gentia versus Cleveland, I don't like. Um, and then with Swift, Cincinnati was able to run on them, so I don't see why Chicago can't. And then we got Ferg playing the Eagles, and then Kenneth Walker versus the Titans. Shit. Okay. No Debo gets yeah, but you um still have Ferguson, so low key I am gonna take Brett. Only because I don't think Josh Jacobs is gonna play. And I don't really know if Warren's gonna play either, so I don't even know who I would put in my flex. I would probably be Goddard, but yeah, not really sure. Gallego versus Japes, another big matchup actually. Gallego's going with Caleb with Daniels out still. And then we got Metcalf. Dude, if there was a time where AJ Brown was to have a game, it would be this game. And there should be no excuse either. Same with Saquon. We have Addison at Green Bay, Judkins. McBride versus Jacksonville is a huge matchup. And then Bucky's questionable, remains limited. Okay. So he could play Waddle's on a bye. Chiefs has got Mahomes at Indy. I think that it's going to be a blowout. Jettis at Green Bay. He's never really played well in Green Bay. Rishi, that's a big game. Olave's going against the number one passing defense. However, it is a division game. We did just see what Bryce Young did to Atlanta. Henry against the Jets, and then Kamara playing. He's limited, so Mark Andrews has been playing pretty decent. Yeah, the last 3 weeks. Darnell Mooney's an interesting one. Obviously, remembering now London is out. And him and Cousins honestly didn't play bad together last year. So Slick Rick's on the bench right now. Sutton's on a bye. I'm gonna roll with Japes in this one. Going with Japes. Okay. I just like the Chiefs matchup at home off of a loss. We have Evan versus Ethan. Evans going. Daniel Jones with both of his QBs on buys. Devontae Smith, great matchup for him. I feel like he usually plays well against Dallas, so I like him. And then Brian Thomas should be maybe back. Um, Hopefully he can do something. And then Nico's playing tomorrow against Buffalo. Davis Mills again, which obviously has unfortunately been a good thing for him fantasy wise. Henderson versus Cincinnati. Oof. Ramondre should be back. So we'll have to see how they handle that committee or whatever they want to do. Then we got Juwan Johnson and Dobbs. A lot of empty slots here. Evan could be projected to win, maybe. Laporte is on IR. Okay. Ethan's got squash against Houston. Tough matchup tomorrow. Um, Both teams low-key need this win, but it is squash, so Amon-Ra against the Giants. Yeah, he might have 25. Uh, he might kill them. Then Michael Wilson against the Jags. It's in Arizona. I like him again. Um, and then Christian Watson. That's going to be tough. It is in Green Bay though, which I like. Chase Brown versus the Patriots. He might not have any rushing yards, but he'll have probably 8 catches. And then Kenneth Gainwell's a good pickup if Warren doesn't play. And then we have Tyler Warren against Kansas City, and then Singletary. He had what, 2 touchdowns? Oh, lad. Okay. Baltimore's. Okay. Ooh, ooh, ooh. I mean, we'll pretty much know from tomorrow night how your guys' weeks are gonna look. Evan's got Nico and Cook. Ethan's got Allen. I'm gonna pick Ethan still because I feel like Amon-Ra is gonna go off. We have Andrew versus Miranda. Must win for Andrew at this point. He's going Jacoby Brissett against Jacksonville. I mean, he hasn't been playing bad. Damn. I am kind of surprised Andrew didn't maybe. Oh, he's got Dak. Like Purdy, just because I know with Kittle with the stack. But Brissett's interesting. Yeah, he's been playing well, and they've had to pass a lot, so I can see that. Puka playing against Tampa at home Sunday night. CD home against Philly, and then I mean Pierce has been playing well. He's been their obvious deep threat. Um, like he's had 20 targets in the last 2 games. Then we have Dowdle, Keaton Mitchell. I don't know. Jacoby Myers, Kittle, obviously. No worthy. He didn't practice. Worthy's definitely been a letdown of a pick for sure. Miranda's got Hurts against Dallas, Pickens against Philly, Jason at Tennessee. This could be ugly. Oh my God. Give me Miranda. This might be a massacre. This might be a massacre. I'm not even kidding. And he doesn't even have London playing. And then that brings us to the matchup of the week. McGill and Nihil. We got Lamar playing the Jets at home. Should be a bounce back game, I would think, for Lamar. They've won four in a row. And we have Ted McMillan at San Fran Monday night. Say against the Jets. Rome against Pittsburgh. I like that. Love CMC. I mean, Taylor, we're gonna find out how he does against Kansas City, obviously on the road. We'll see how he does against Spags. So that's definitely gonna be a test there. Hunter Henry against Cincinnati could be a good play. Definitely like Devontae Adams. Niles Drake against Cincinnati and Diggs. Big game. And then T. Higgins also is going to be wide receiver one. Likely means he'll get Gonzo. But then we have Trey Tucker. So Brees Hall, Woody Marks. I'm just not a fan of Hawkinson. And then Tyrone Tracy. This is like I usually never pick against McGill, but I've seen Nihil win five in a row. So we have Drake and Diggs and T. Higgins, and then McGill's got Ted and McCaffrey. He's still got Jonathan Taylor, Woody Marks. So what is going on here? I think I gotta pick McGill. Oh, I wanted to just say Nihil, but also Nihil, you don't have HN, which is a difference, to be honest. Um, I just realized that, so I am gonna lean McGill here. Um, so yeah, but we'll see. Okay. QBs, we got Squash, Drake, Mahomes, Herb, Nixon, Stafford. Wide receiver, we got Jason, Jamar, Amon-Ra, Puka, Pickens, London, Adams, Debo, Taylor, McCaffrey. McCaffrey's right behind him. Um, Obviously Taylor had a bye. Achane, Bijan, Gibbs, Cook, Jacobs, Rico, Javante, Kyron, Saquon. Tight ends, we got McBride, Ferguson, Kelsey, Warren, Goddard, with Dicker in the lead now for kicking. Defense is Denver, followed by Seattle, Houston, and Pittsburgh. Tyke Smith still at the top, followed by Nahoshan Wright, Brian Burns, Miles Garrett. Brian Burns is killing it too. Mad Max, Byron Young, Will Anderson up there now, and then linebackers we got Jordan Brooks, Tremaine Edmonds, Jack Campbell, Bobby Wagner, Spillane, Cedric Gray. But that's gonna wrap it up. Obviously, 3 weeks left, so every game is gonna have an effect on the playoffs. So we'll see if anyone clinches next week, um, or if we have a better prediction on where standings are gonna go. So we'll see how that plays out in next week's video.